A very common misconception about positivity is that people make it sound like you just ignore all your problems and that everything is sunshine and rainbows. That's not reality. Like, be so for real. In this video, we're not going to be on that whole cliche, just think happy thoughts. We're gonna dive deep. We're gonna talk about positivity. I'm gonna tell you my experience, and then I'm gonna tell you 3 easy habits you can do every day to slowly shift yourself into thinking in a naturally positive mindset. Trust me, this changed my life. There's gonna be some good stuff in this video. I've done a ton of research on this topic, also learning through my own experience that I want to share, which is pretty vulnerable of me. The first thing I need you to understand is that positivity is a choice. If you haven't caught on to it yet, your life reflects your own perception. It's however you perceive it. You have the power to decide on what that perception is. It's all really in your mind. Reframing your mind to automatically see situations from a more positive light is not just about thinking happy thoughts. It's about actively working to reconstruct your negative thought patterns and instead focusing on areas of growth and improvement. You need to look at challenges as growth opportunities. This does not mean we're ignoring our problems, but improving your mindset can better your ability to handle those problems. So let's talk about why positivity. Having a more optimistic mindset offers reduced stress and anxiety associated with negative thinking, with calmer nervous system. It opens up the door for opportunities. We'll get into that in a second. It improves your relationships with others, making you more likable and approachable. I am not by any means encouraging people-pleasing, self-validation energy. However, it's really useful in situations where it matters what people think about you, such as a job interview, a business setting, or meeting a significant other's family member. You'd want those people to like you, right? People are naturally drawn to people that are optimistic and upbeat. They come across as fun, carefree, and lighthearted. Really good example of that would be in your workplace. You'll have that favorite coworker that has a really fun, goofy personality, always keeps the vibe high. The day they don't show up and you're just so disappointed. Wouldn't you like to be that person? Focusing on the positive can also help you bounce back from setbacks and challenges in life. It gives you mental stability and makes you less vulnerable to bullshit. You attract how you think. Here's a quick lesson about energy, and tune in. This is very important. Everything is energy, including our thoughts and emotions. The vibration of energy is based off of its frequency. Positive thoughts and emotions deliver high frequency, while negative thoughts and emotions deliver low frequency. Assuming we all have these dreams and goals that we want to reach in life, big or small, you need to think more positive, to vibrate higher in order to align yourself to reach those desires. In simple terms, negative thinking is putting your dream life out of reach. If you change the way you look at things, then the things you see will change. When you vibrate the frequency of sadness, you will attract more situations that will reinforce that emotion. This also all has to do with the law of attraction, but that can be covered in a whole nother video. I feel like people don't talk about this enough. But let's talk about where negativity comes from. Why are we negative? Negativity is actually a defense mechanism. Negative thinking is usually about maintaining a false sense of safety or control. When we constantly think about the worst case scenario, we feel more prepared when things don't go our way. When we beat ourselves up about the things that we lack, we feel protected against any disappointment associated with failure. Our unconscious brains want to protect us by any means necessary, right? We find comfort in feeling like we are mentally one step ahead of anything that can go wrong. Being negative also gives you an excuse for not doing and not having. Meaning, for an example, if there's a goal you want to reach that's out of your comfort zone, you can excuse that with a negative thought and convince yourself that you never wanted it anyway. That is wild to me. I want to tell you my experience because I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate to this. I grew up surrounded by pessimists. My entire family was negative all the time. It was a pretty bad habit we all did. It was very natural. You'd hear the phone ringing, pick it up, and hear on the other line, "You're never gonna believe the day I had today. It was the worst day of my life." And then you two would sit there on the phone for 2 hours talking about how the world is ending and everything sucks. This was so normalized and consistent. About 4 years ago, I was stuck mentally in a very dark place. Undiagnosed depression. My mind was attacking itself. I could not focus. It was causing me crippling anxiety. Constantly just overwhelmed with this feeling of sadness and hopelessness. In another video, I compared it to having a black cloud over my head. It made it very hard for me to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was a victim. Things were happening to me. Every morning I'd wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I'd reach over, snooze my alarm, and I'd just literally lay there staring at the ceiling, being taken over by these miserable thoughts, and I did not know what to do about it. I was already assuming it was going to be a bad day before I put my feet on the ground. This set the tone for the entire day, and unfortunately, it was not a good one. I was also coming from a state of unhealed trauma, which does not help my situation at all. It took a lot of unlearning my bad habits and looking into the effects of negativity on the brain for me to actually understand what was going on. Everything was a negative thought. I hated my job. My car was a piece of shit that needed too much work. I'm not making enough money, and I'll never get what I've want out of life. This also progressed into terrible road rage. I was extremely stressed out and anxious every single time I got behind the wheel. Screaming in the car, always in a hurry. It became very toxic, and I probably took an unnecessary amount of time off my life. How stressed out I was. I'm not even kidding. It's way too easy to get trapped in the what I call everything sucks mindset. When you're negative, it rubs off on others and you feed off of each other. I started to actually notice this in some of my friendships. I fell out with one of my best friends. She was someone I text all day, every single day, update each other about our daily lives constantly. Got to a point where it was affecting her mentally. She said she couldn't listen to my negative bullshit anymore. I don't blame her. We didn't talk for over 6 months. It really affected me. It was like going through a breakup, but it gave me a lot of time to reflect and to hold myself accountable. I'm to blame. I'm literally the problem. It's me. I decided something needs to change. That was the turning point. Obviously, I'm a victim of abuse and I can't afford to let it take over my life anymore. I am destroying every aspect of my own life. Sitting there dwelling about your past and being angry at life is not getting you what you want. Life gets so much better when you're positive. Even if something bad happens to you, it's like you have that barrier. You have that like safety net. That this specific situation is happening for a reason, even though it may not seem like I can take something positive out of every single experience, good or bad. Now let's get into the 3 things that helped me. The first thing we can do is change your words. Change your words in the way that you talk to people. Words make a huge difference in the way that you feel and the way that others perceive you. I'm gonna read something to you. Michelle Gwen, a happiness researcher and author of Broadcasting Happiness, says one of the biggest ways we can transfer stress is verbally. By jumpstarting a conversation with a positive statement, it can set the tone in a much better place. For example, when you're at work and somebody asks you how you are and you're like, I'm so tired, I really don't want to do this today. Start off the conversation by saying something positive like, I just had a really good sandwich for lunch today. How's your day going? This naturally leads the conversation and your mind to a much more positive place. Pay attention to the words you speak and the way that you talk to yourself. When you catch yourself saying, I can't do this, try reframing it into something a little bit more empowering, like, I'm still learning, I can improve with practice. It's really all just about changing the story you tell yourself. Another thing you can do is pick a positive mantra and repeat it consistently. This is actually a fun one I do all the time. I talk to myself out loud very often. People may think it's uncomfortable or weird. It's actually a really healthy thing to do. Here's a side note about talking to yourself. This is interesting. Talking out loud to yourself increases focus and critical thinking skills and help break your situation down, organize your thoughts, and also really help improve your memory. I see this in myself a lot. When I repeat things out loud, I'm way more likely to memorize it. Here's a fun fact. The average person has about 12 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Our inner thoughts are pretty much basically us talking to ourselves in our head. So why not just say it out loud? Having a mantra is just a positive reminder when you catch yourself spiraling. For example, mine for a while was everything happens for a reason. I love that quote. Or the lighting. I absolutely stand by that. I literally have it on the back of my shoulder. It says everything happens for a reason in Italian. Right now it's currently, I'm so lucky everything works out for me. It's my lock screen on my phone. So every time I pick my phone up, I see that and it's like super grounding for me. It just like brings me back for a second. And probably the best one out of all of these is having gratitude. Being grateful is one of the fastest and easiest ways to kick negativity to the curb. Gratitude helps to counteract negativity by shifting your focus towards the positive aspects of your life. By practicing gratitude every day, it forces your mind to see the smaller things that you can appreciate. This is what I like to do, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I do this all the time. Whenever you remember, whenever you're about to go down a bad rabbit hole, take a moment, pause, maybe take a deep breath if you need to, and think of 3 things, just very simple things that you can appreciate in this moment. So right now, for me, sunshine, having the sun out, it's a beautiful day. My coffee, definitely can appreciate my latte when it's been a few days of not having one. And I'm also gonna appreciate having the day off because like, why not? So that just goes to show it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just simple little things that you can appreciate. It doesn't have to be a laundry list. And by the time I'm done, half the time, like I literally can't even remember what I was frustrated about in the first place. I actually heard of this thing somewhere, I think it was in a podcast. It was about carrying a gratitude rock in your pocket throughout the day. Every time you touch it, you're supposed to remind yourself gratitude and just think about one thing that you can appreciate. It kind of seems like a cool thing to do at work. If you're stressed, you have a lot going on, and then you're feeling around in your pockets, you feel that rock. It just reminds you that you do have something to be grateful for. In the words of Steve Harvey, gratitude coats your mind from negativity. Negativity is gross. It's not attractive. It drives people away. You're never going to get where you want to get in life with being negative. There's absolutely almost no benefit to being negative besides comfort. And Have we not realized that comfort doesn't get you anywhere in life? Maybe that's a video for another time. I wish personally I could have seen my negativity being a problem way sooner than I did, but I had the experience I had for a reason. We all have our own journey, and that's why I am here to assist you in yours. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.